Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. Welcome to Fly Nubian Money Monday. Let me start again. I was trying to say happy Monday and welcome at the same time. So let's reel it back in. Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and your money. Now, today we're talking about a viral trend that has social media buzzing, and it's called the rise of HubSons. Yeah, that was new for me too, but then I got into it and was like, oh Lord, these are grown men who have moved back home and taken on the man of the house role, cooking, cleaning, running errands for mom, and living life on their own terms. Some say it's smart economics and self-care. Others says it shows a lack of drive. So we're going to break it down on how inflation, gender roles, and social media have turned moving back home into a lifestyle, and what that says about masculinity, money, and independence in 2025. Now, I have a son. My son is 38 years old, and he moved out earlier. So he moved out on his own terms in early life. At 17, he wanted to be gone because he didn't want to abide by mom's rules. Okay. So, and he was fine with that. So I don't have a HubSons, and he never ever wanted to move back in again. Right. So my question to you, panel, because I have a beautiful panel here, and let me tell you who's here today. We got Joe Corley, licensed therapist, mental wellness coach, and educator. You know we can't wait to hear what you got to say, Joe. Then we have Dr. Sabrina, author, investor, educator, specializing in proper wealth transfer. And then we have Marlo Layson, our TV film producer. We have Tierra Williams, producer and actress, and me, your singing international real estate agent. Panel. I got a question for you because this one kind of blew me away. And I also want to hear what our audience has to say, our family. What is your first reaction when you heard the term HubSons? Joe, I'm starting with you.
When I first heard it, I kind of laughed a little bit, but I realized, this is a real thing. And it's a reflection of something deeper going on in our culture. And it's not just about men moving home. It's about, identity and, survival for a lot of people. And also, like, there's a real redefinition of what manhood is in this changing world. So that's what I thought when I first.
It was a new term for me too. It really was. I've always heard mama's boy, but I think maybe this is a different thing, right?
I had to go
what
deep.
About you, Tierra? Go deeper than that. So, Tierra, what was your first reaction when you heard this term, HubSons?
Yeah, it's so funny because I initially thought we were going to talk about Black women who baby their sons in a way. They raise their girls, but they like baby their sons, and those sons being like little girls who stay at home and all of that, right? That's what I've seen. But once I got to the hashtag, I was like, oh, so got it. It felt like there was these young boys, generation XYZ, Z, I don't know, the young ones, are, just never really taking off. They're staying at home, they're gaming, they're living a soft life. And I was a little concerned for our future, like that our boys are not motivated to live, to do the traditional thing that we've always done. A little bit.
It's definitely different times. How about you, Marlo? What was your first reaction when you heard about HubSons?
I definitely thought it was parody at first. Y'all know, for me, naming thing, what you name a thing matters, and I hate this combination of husband and son as a word, because why? No, there's no need for it. Um, I, I'm glad that I don't. I have a son. I don't have a hub son. My son is busy being a husband, so I don't have that problem. But shout out to the ladies that are embracing this. I guess I'm gonna learn more because I didn't do too much research because I hate the name.
I love that. Okay, Dr. Sabrina. Now, listen, what did you think about when you first heard the term HubSon?
Well, I wasn't familiar with the term. I have sons. I have sons who are at home, but that was a choice that we made, and it's more about economics than it is about me needing them for their help to help. You know, I have a husband at home as well, so yeah, I thought it was interesting.
I find it very interesting that nowadays we have to name everything. Either it's an acronym, or I can't tell you how long it took me to understand what y'all kept saying POTUS and all that stuff when President Obama was like, what is POTUS? You know, I'm sure my I had to look it up because we have to name absolutely everything. And sometimes you're like, well, I don't even know where that came from. So let's talk about what some of our family is saying. We have some people who are happy to see us here on Monday. We're happy to be here. DMV Champ said, I don't know any men that have moved back home. Where are you getting these statistics? Well, baby, we do always come with statistics. Stick around because we are going to talk about statistics, okay? So bear with us because we're going to share those with you. Dennis says, being a good helper sometimes what we need to keep the family together. And then Tamisha says, I agree with Marlo. No need for it. Talk about the name. And Booker says, no such thing. Let the son be your son because a son can't fulfill the role of a husband. James says he hates the term too. Dennis also says collective economics. And Dennis also says it's a big change since the 80s, right? It's a very interesting thing, but we always come with videos and stats and all that. So let's check out this first video and get back into this conversation.
A new trend is picking up steam. Stay-at-home sons. These young men, dubbed trad sons or hub sons, are opting out of the rat race to take on full-time homemaker duties for their parents in exchange for room and board. A family therapist tells the New York Post that this shift may be fueled by insecurity and instability, with some young men feeling safest under mom and dad's roof in an uncertain world. And they're not alone. 1 in 3 U.S. adults age 18 to 34 now lives at home. Experts say it's fine as long as it's a pit stop and not the destination. So could you get on board with being or having a stay-at-home son? Let us know and download Fox Local for live streaming, news, and more.
Yeah, we don't want you to download Fox. You want to stay right here with us, right? Listen, Joe, I'm going to start with you because I'd like to know if you think we are seeing a new kind of masculinity emerging with this trend.
It looks like it. You know what I mean? It looks like it. I'm not out there dating a bunch of men, so maybe I'm not the perfect one to ask, but it looks like it, and we can't talk about it without even addressing the fact that, what the economy is right now. Like, things are very, very high, and for a lot of these men, the math just ain't mathing no more. So staying at home seems like just the thing to do. I'm not in love with the term hub son, but when you're talking about, one bedroom apartments costing more than half your income, sometimes moving back home is the only option, you know. And we're making, we got men making adult decisions in a broken economy, and they're saying, well, why would I go broke trying to prove that I'm a man's man when I can just stay home, stack my money up, and build a foundation? So I think that the economy is having a lot to do with what we're seeing right now.
I agree with you to a certain degree. I also see that there's so many other dynamics that could possibly change with dating and things of that nature. But Tira, I'm gonna kind of bounce off of Joe with your question. So do you really think that this trend is more about culture or economics?
I think it's more about culture. I mean, I think it's all. I'm sorry. I think it's about both, but I think it's about economics primarily. Like we all know, eggs is $20. You know, life is hard, and we don't know, with a lot of things going on with the government. We're in the middle of a shutdown, and we don't know what that means, right? We know that there's this man trying to do something with the country, and we don't quite know what that is, but there's a lot of people suffering. So I just want to give that grace, and I say I understand, but I do think that it will have an effect on the way our boys are able to have a relationship. I mean, I don't know why the approach would be to go back home as opposed to maybe like not getting a wife, because that might not be the answer, but instead like looking to cleave to somebody outside of like your mama. Like, I think that's a little weird. Like, if you're grown, you're a 30, 40-year-old man, and you say like, I'm gonna go home. Like, of all the things that you can do, it just feels like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I think you're just too old. I think you're too old for that. I think
But
you're too old for that.
here's the thing. I think as families go, we all leave the door open to, if there's any tough times for our children, they should know that they can come home.
That's true.
My son
That's true.
always knew, regardless that he wanted to be out on his own because he wanted his own rules outside of mama. We have that understanding that, listen, son, if you have to come home, you've got a room, you've got
That's
a
true.
place to be. And I think a lot of this is now showing like this is a kind of a blurred line of what we're seeing. But Joe, I want to come back to you. I know, ladies, I have you too, but Joe here is our therapist, and you talked about the economic part of it, but what do you think about the cultural part of it?
Yeah, I think the cultural side is just as important. I think that's important to say. So we've raised generations of men, right, to equate their manhood with independence. You must get out, you must get your own, and you can't look back. So when that young man moves back home, it feels like a piece of his identity is gone. It's a loss. So culturally, men are fighting like two different messages. It's one that says be smart with your money, and the other one says you're not a real man unless you're on your own. So there's creating shame, and then shame kills motivation. So people aren't motivated to do the things that they need to do in order to gain their independence. So they're going hand in hand and working together. And it's recognizing that, especially in Black families, this communal type living has always been kind of part of the survival, and in brown families too. It's part of the survival. It's part of the connection. It's really not new, but it's now being looked at through a different and kind of a judgmental lens because of basically social media and whatever we're doing.
And there's so many elements around this. I want to hit a couple of the comments that our family is saying, because they are bringing up really good points. Incog says, couldn't find work after graduation. That is a situation. And then someone also mentioned, I've lost that one. Here it is. Incog also says many people took a financial hit due to the pandemic or couldn't find work after graduation. Moving back home was the best option. And I think that we are living in a totally different time, because for many, many years, y'all, we didn't have a pandemic. Like, we're like long days since we had a pandemic. And then our generation got hit in so many different ways. And the whole dynamic of the world changed, not in the US. Black Lexicon says it's not a super bad thing. A child can still have their own assets and do so in the December of a parent's life, especially if they're alone. So there's so much to this, but this is where I see an issue, is when we always label something and we make it bad. There are so many different dynamics here that it doesn't fit in one box. We're going to take a quick break. This is a great conversation. Keep it going, family, because we want to hear what you have to think. We'll be right back.
It's a good show right here. But I'm biased. If you are just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I'm the proud producer of this show because it is lit. If you want to receive notifications for when we go live Monday through Friday. 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you have to do is text the word Queens to 87948. That's Queens to 87948. That's QUEENS to 87948. Also, if you want to grow your money and not blow your money, all you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, there's courses, there's free giveaways. There's just no reason to be broke in 2025. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. Obviously, you don't want to be entertained here. You want to know enough to grow. Wait, I need to put that on a shirt. You got to know to grow. Got to know to grow. So know and grow.
Your 25-year-old son isn't lazy, he's stuck. And if you don't do something about it, 5 years from now, he'll still be in your basement at 2 a.m. gaming, and you'll be up in your bed, lying awake, wondering where you went wrong. Have you heard of the stay-at-home son syndrome? Parents around the country are whispering about it, and most of them are living it in silence. It looks like this. Your 20-something is still living at home, gaming all night long, maybe delivering Uber Eats during the day to get enough money for their weed. Meanwhile, you're paying for his food, shelter, Wi-Fi, clothing, anything else that he wants. And he's telling you he's going to figure it out. Meanwhile, you're walking on eggshells, afraid to push too hard, but terrified he's never going to launch into adulthood. This is what I call being lost in place. And it's not just him that's stuck, it's you too. And when you shift the way you show up in the relationship, things can change. If I just described you, consider coming to my October class, Lost.
You know, she's coming at it at a little bit of a different angle than what we've talked about. And this is a different funnel of this. So Dr. Sabrina, she is discussing the fact that, you know, they may just be doing the minimum, living in their house and gaming and things of that nature, or not really doing things to help move forward in life. So do you think that mothers sometimes enable this dynamic just out of love? And what are we creating with that for the future generation?
So I do in some instances, but I think we're talking about two different categories of people. I think there may be people whose children are just there gaming, smoking weed, doing whatever, doing the dishes, you know, whatever. That the what do you call them? HubSons. There may truly be some there, and I think that's a totally different aspect from people whose children move back home for other reasons. So I think that's the first thing to clarify. You can't call them both the same because they're not really the same. For example, one thing I think we need to not disregard is the pandemic was real. We got to remember that there was a whole generation of kids that were either like in high school or had just gone to college that are really even still dealing with some of that trauma. I think about my own son who was, you know, had just gotten his first job during the pandemic. He was in auto sales, doing very well. I mean, when you sell somebody a car and then they turn around and give you a tip after you sold them a car, I mean, you're doing something right. But then all of a sudden something happens in the world and I no longer have a job. What did I do wrong? What? I thought I was doing good. You know, what's going on? I can't go outside. So it's a lot of people that are still dealing with that. That wasn't really that long ago. That would mean this is only 2025. So a lot of that for kids that had grown up, you know, in this free world, able to go where they want, do what they want, when they want. And now they've experienced this life-altering thing. For some of them, it may be a matter of trying to get themselves together mentally. Okay. And I'm not saying that that's, you know, the case in my family. It could very well be, but we got to consider that everybody's situation is not the same. And then again, does it really make sense for us to send our kids out into this world when you're making $3,000 a month, but it's costing you, you know, $2,000 of it in rent? You haven't paid for any utilities, any insurances, any other expenses, and you've spent like 2/3 of your income and you're giving it to someone else. How do you create wealth in that? How do you save up 20% to put down to become a homeowner in that type of situation? So that's the part of the conversation I think we need to think about as well.
I think so too. I mean, there's a lot of avenues that we need to go down. I actually have sold to many families that did buy as families. And then what they did is they all put their money into a pool so that the next person who got their turn to buy their house, they all put together for that person to get their own home. And then that person would probably move in, his sister or a brother or whatever. And then they would save up again. So that would push them off into their own home ownership. So, you know, Marlo, could this trend actually help build generational wealth?
If the person is not just waiting on their parents to die. I mean, I think that the lady in the video that we just showed, to me, this is the result of helicopter parenting, right? We stopped talking about helicopter parenting where, you know, every moment of the child's day was scheduled and the parent was overly involved in everything, right? And we see this now. I work in a managerial position. I haven't experienced it myself, fingers crossed, but I've heard of people whose parents have been present on job interviews, whether they came with or whether they were there in the background on Zoom and giving prompts, right? So I think if your whole life has been your parent being this overly guiding factor in your life and you haven't really had a need to figure things out for yourself, I think that you will be 20 years old in the basement gaming, smoking weed, because that's what's easy. The world is very, very hard, right? And so I think that there's a lot of things happening at once. What this lady talked about is not building generational wealth. That kid is waiting to come up on the inheritance, like how many years before checkout? You know, he's not, that the person described in that video is not trying. I think that if real conversations are happening and people are saying, hey, what's your goal? How can we help you get there? If those conversations are happening, absolutely generational wealth can be established and built in a situation like that. But it depends on how we got here. Did we get here because the parents never were able to let go? Did we get here because life happened and out of need they had to come home? Like, how did we get here? And I think that that's where your outcome lies in the discussions that you have about how we get here and where we're going.
Yeah, I agree.
Can I answer that, Lala?
Yes.
Real quick. Because at the beginning of the video, she said, your son is not lazy. He's stuck. And so what that sounds like is that he needs Joe, right? Like you need it, whatever those things that he experienced when he was younger that made him feel like I can't make decisions on my own. Because I grew up in a house. My grandmother had 12 children, and all of the boys were at home and all of the girls were gone. And so, like, you know, out, like, not just outside, but like outside killing it. Like out, you know, my Aunt Connie was, you know, Minister Connie was like at 30 something. Minister Connie was still out in the streets killing, and I was watching her go bing, 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 right? And it's like all of her sisters are like that, but all of my uncles were at the house. Every one of them. And when my grandmother told them that they had to leave, some of them resented her for it. And we end up relocating to another state to get them out of the house, right? So, like, I just think about like that whole thing about babying our sons and raising our women, our girls to like be able to handle life in a way. Like we're not, I mean, I know it's a thing for women to move back home, but I think it's less likely that a woman moves home. Right. But for some odd reason, it's like, oh, no, he can come back. And if he needs to, he can come back. I mean, I'm saying Lauren can come back whenever she wants. But Lauren's like, I'm not coming back here. She's 14 talking like that. Talking about, I'm good. I said, oh, OK. All right. Oh, OK. You know, so maybe it's something mental. Maybe it's something that they need some therapy through, you know.
You know, it's interesting because we're talking about moms here. OK, we're talking about moms as if they're single moms. Where is the husband in this conversation? Is there a husband in the household? Are we talking about just males moving back with single moms? There's another aspect that we need to discuss, but we're going to have to take a break. I didn't even know it was break time, y'all. I'm all up in this. I'm in this drinking my tea. So we're getting ready to go take a commercial and we'll be right back.
I know. You're busy, you got things to do, and you can't take us on the go with you every single day. Good news for you. We are now on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, now you can listen to us on Spotify. Search Fly Nubian Money and all the episodes shall appear. All you have to do is like, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, leave some comments, tell people how you love us so that when other people come along and are looking for a great show to watch, they can find Fly Nubian Money too. One last thing, and just in case you've been sitting under a rock, Fly Nubian Money now has an investment club. We are the Fly Nubian Money Club. It's easy. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com, and I am committed to bringing in top experts from all industries to help you level up. They're teaching us the skills that we need to compete in this market. We often say that nobody is coming to save us, not the government, but guess what? We're coming to save us. I'm coming to save you with the Fly Nubian Money Club. So listen, all you have to do again is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com. We have a 30-day free trial set up just for you, just for those people that are struggling. Even if you ain't struggling, you ain't got to struggle. I'm coming. Okay, let me stop playing. I'll see you soon.
Listen, we've got some really great conversations going on in the comment section, and I want to hit on those a little bit. Michael says, other ethnicities, I can never say that word, other cultures have multiple generations living in the same house and or apartment complex in separate units. Kids wanting to move home need to have boundaries about what can take place in the house. I think that's a very good take on that. Miss Poetry also says right now they are enabling them. Women love their boys and raise their girls. Oh, I wanted to hit on another one of her comments, but I need to stop on that one. Joe, I want you to address that comment. What are your thoughts on that? Women love their boys and raise their girls.
Yeah, I mean, mom's gonna mom out here, and that's what's gonna happen. So we talking about the dynamics that come from, like, moms see their son struggle and they want to see them. They don't want to see them break under pressure, and they see them breaking under pressure, and they want to make things easier. It's not really malicious; it's maternal. Well, they might see themselves in their daughters and not have that same mindset about it. But if especially you're talking about, single parent households, that mother-son bond becomes incredibly strong, and that boy may have watched his mom sacrifice everything. So when he's grown, he feels a different sense of loyalty to his mom, like it's his turn to take care of her. And that, I don't think that necessarily happens as often when you're talking about the mother-daughter relationship. And the daughters, they grow up looking at them situations, and from my experience in therapy, and they become resentful of their mother's struggles. Like, sis, you could have did this. I've literally heard this about 2 or 3 different sessions this week. Sis, you didn't have to go through that. You could have made this choice. You could have left that man. You could have did all these things. Where the son is looking at it like, I have to take care of my mother. So the bond is different. But it's out of love. It's just sometimes a little unbalanced.
It's really interesting because before we got married, my husband and I got married, and we married when we were 23, but we had known each other since we were 14. One of the major conversations, because I had lost both of my parents before we got married, one of the major conversations that I had with him was, I want you to understand that if your mother or your father ever need us, you ain't never got to question, wife, can we? It is not a conversation. It will happen. And I think that also takes a lot of pressure off of people when you are actually telling and talking about this before you get married. But let's look at this as because someone did mention it in the comments. How does this look for maybe dating or finding a spouse, or Tira, you're single on our panel. So how does that affect your dating life? Would you date someone who is still living at home with their parents? Maybe, in the dynamic of what our last video talked about, where the son is just at home gaming, not helping in a certain way, or needed to help because it was mom needed help. would you date someone who was just living in the basement?
Yeah, that's tough. It really does matter. It really does matter. It matters why he's in the basement, because I've dated a man that has helped his mother, right? Like Lauren's father and his mother, I felt like they lived together for a very long time. She has some heart issues, and so he moved his mother to California, and they all lived in a house together. So when I met, they were in a house together, and it really did take a toll on our relationship, even with him helping. Because it, like, how do you even, I mean, it was helpful because we always have grandma and we always have these things, but it's like it naturally turned into, like, I think, like a hub son relationship, no matter what, like being just dependent on one another and seeing each other as each other's lifeline instead of the woman. Like, I remember sitting, walk out, I was braiding Lauren's hair at the house, and I remember sitting and braiding her hair, and then he walked in, and his mom got up and made his plate, and I was just looking. I was like, wow, there's really no space for a woman in here. I mean, we weren't together then, we were just friends, but I was just thinking, it naturally happens watching somebody do that. Now that they don't live together anymore, but they lived together for a very long time, and so getting to see that dynamic and how it interferes, I think, with him being able to, like, have a wife at some point, I think, it really does get in the way, no matter what the reasons are that he's at his mama's house. Because, I mean, how you gonna be a couple at your mama's house? Like, I'm supposed to come in the basement? Me? I'm coming in the basement? No, I'm not coming in your basement. Like, that's crazy. You gonna kiss me in the basement? No, you're not. No, no,
It's a,
no,
it's,
no.
it's
Well, our
You want to come
president,
over to my
when the
house?
president went in the basement,
Listen, and
Michelle.
then, y'all, that's how he ended up at my house. It's like, well, I'm gonna just come over your house. Well, I'm gonna just stay at your house. Listen, all these situations have happened in real life. Well, I remember one time something happened, and not to be telling all my business, but he was like, me and my mama and my brother need to come to your house. I said, right? Because something happened. And they all literally moved into my place. And I said, oh, this can't work. This is not going to be the way that I live my life. So I just think it's, I'm just saying, as a woman, ladies, be careful, because you might end up with everybody at your house.
Well, and yeah, I have a little bit of a flip story with that though, because as much as I love my mama. You hear me? I don't call her my mother-in-law. I call her my mother. She's my mama to me. And it's funny because she's always like, no, 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 I don't want to come in and bother your dynamic. Listen, like she's really conscious of that. I'm like, because I have, we have stayed with her to help her take care of herself or whatever when we needed to. But there's a different dynamic there when the mother sees that, no, because I think that, couples need to be the couples and not just be the mama. It's really interesting, right? Listen. This is so deep. And I think we need to kind of take another commercial break, our video next, and then we'll come back into the conversation.
All right. So you want a commercial is what you asked me for, and then a video. Okay.
I sure did. I'm sorry.
Are you a Black business owner looking to expand your reach? Well, has Fly Nubian Money got good news for you? We are building a Black business directory to connect you with customers who need your services. And here is the best part. It is absolutely free. Email us at info@realvirtual.net. Send us your business name. Tell us a little bit about what you do, what services you offer, your website address, and your contact information. That's it. Together, we are going to build and circulate the Black dollar. Get listed today and start.
Like, men are burdened with leadership. Like, women don't get judged for failing. Let's call it what it is. Like, you have a woman who will be in a career or whatever, and let's say that she lose her job and she got to go stay with her parents. She's not going to be less less desirable on the dating market because she's living with her parents. But let a man lose his job. Got to go stay with his parents. And he ain't driving that Benz no more. Or he ain't got that little loft that's in the sky downtown, whatever the case may be. His marketability from a dating perspective drops.
Yeah.
Men are judged by our results. That's it. That's all. So when you say I'm going to figure it out, we ain't got a goddamn choice, because if we don't figure it out,
there's no safety net.
Ain't no safety net.
You
brother.
a bum. You're a bum ass if you don't figure it out.
And
like,
Well, okay. Tell us how you really feel. Dr. Sabrina, listen, do you think it's harder for men to find purpose when work doesn't pay what it used to?
I don't know that the purpose ever came from that. I don't associate the two. I think that's what's wrong with a lot of people today. We're not finding purpose. We're finding money, but that doesn't always give us our purpose. I've had jobs before, and they did not give me my purpose. I do agree somewhat with the last video was talking about, that we do have a different perception of men. They're not men when they fall on hard times or if they struggle. We tend to label them, and it's different when it's a woman. I know several people. I mean, people may say women do it on their own and this, that, and the other, and to a degree that may be true. But I know several instances where mothers and daughters live together, and I don't know what the term is for that. It's not HubSons, that's for sure. I don't know what the term is for that, but we don't view that the same as when the sons come back home. And again, I think it's a different category when you have people who are literally in the basement playing the video game all day. That's different than someone that has lost their job or falling on hard times. And then we can't undergird this whole element of, we got a lot of mentally unstable people walking around today. I mean, if they need to be at home with their mama, let them stay at home with their mama. We don't want them out here in society with the rest of us. I'm just gonna call it like it is. Stay at home with your mama. Stay at home.
I cannot disagree with you, Dr. Sabrina. Honestly, I cannot disagree with you on that. But Marlo, does this reflect a decline in ambition, or is this a redefinition of peace?
It
Because
may
we
be.
don't talk about balance.
This may be remapping peace. If first of all, we're talking about parents who can afford to have their kids living in a basement, and while it seems like a nuisance, it's being allowed to happen. So it's certainly not a financial strain as it appears from what this lady was saying in the video. I think that people have watched their parents burn out in careers. Kids have sat. I saw a video this morning, and it was super. And she was saying how much you give to your kids, and the kids don't even appreciate going out to eat. Right? The kids have so much they don't even appreciate the things that we appreciated. A meal out was a big deal when I was a kid. I know for sure. Yeah. And so I think that it's just an evolution. These kids saw you working so hard to bring them to Disney World, then as soon as you get back from Disney World, you can't even talk about the trip. You got to get back to work to make the money that you spent at the world. I think that some people are definitely opting out of the hamster wheel of consumerism and capitalism and all the isms. So I think that, there are mentally ill people. You are so right. They need to be at home. There are also people who are just disconnected from the hustle life and the hustle culture. They don't want to have anything to do with it. And I think to a certain degree, one thing about it, me as a parent, I know for sure, I know my kids. I know who they are. Each of them individually, I know who they are as people. And I think that a lot of these parents, while it may, to their friend, right, who they have brunch with every weekend, the friend may be exhausted by the son being there, but she may not be bothered because you know what? At the end of the day, she may know what? Life is not for Roger, okay? It is not for him. And so whatever I could do to keep him safe, if it means him being home, then he's going to be home. And I think that there are so many different things at play. And, my friend next door is the therapist, but I'm going to just say, mind your own business. Roger ain't bothering you. If you don't want your son to come back home and be in the basement smoking weed and playing Halo, then goddamn it, don't let him. But let that lady do what she's doing with and for her son if that is making them folks comfortable. What is it called clinically, Joe, for people to mind their business?
You said it right.
Mind your business, rightus.
And keep all the
Right.
rest of us safe. Keep
Right.
us safe.
Mhm.
Listen, we like numbers, and someone earlier said, where are we getting these stats? Well, here you go. Let's check out the stats because we do that around these pots. So let's check this out. The hashtag Stay at Home Son has over 25 million views on TikTok, showing how humor and lifestyle content have normalized the trend.
It's
I
crazy, by
urge you
the
to
way,
go look
y'all.
it up, y'all. I urge y'all to go look it
Oh
up.
my God.
68% of adults living at home say they are saving money, but only 32% are investing or building long-term financial goals. There is a disconnect there, y'all. 68 and 32. That's kind of a big separation. Psychologists say this is often a response to burnout and economic anxiety, not laziness. Many young adults are rejecting hustle culture and redefining peace.
Did I already play this one, Lala? Yes, right?
No,
Oh,
Black men aged 25 to 34 are twice as likely to live at home as they were in 2000, largely due to housing costs and stagnant wages. Now, listen, I do want to go back to the hustle culture thing. So, Joe, this is for you. How has this whole hustle culture contributed to burnout or retreat? And do you think this has a lot to do with this HubSons trend?
So the generation before grew up in constant motion, right? In a generation of just we glorifying exhaustion. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, and hustle culture told us that if you're not really moving, if you ain't got no motion, you're not really worthy. And we confuse that with purpose, and that's not really like Dr. Sabrina was talking about. That's not really purpose. So, for a lot of us, especially Black men, the message is clear: your value is tied to your productivity. So, rest is weakness, not wellness. You understand? And because of that, now we see men taking a step back, and they're doing something different. They're living at home, they're slowing down, they're reassessing. People calling it laziness, and I kind of see it as rebellion. You know what I'm saying? It's like men are saying, like, I'm done performing. I'm done with trying to perform and survive. We got taught to grind ourselves into the ground and call that ambition. And now people are like, let's breathe. And there's no real balance to it. And I think that's where the problem is. You got to learn the balance between ambition and wellness. And I don't think that part is what really needs to be learned. Because hustle culture, I mean, it didn't just exhaust our bodies. We got disconnected from ourselves. Like, we lost the idea of purpose. And we have men who can't rest because they think that is some type of regression for their lives. And I got a lot of male clients that are dealing with the guilt of not producing. That is a very huge thing. And they don't know how to just be without performing. So, and that guilt is generational, and their fathers and grandfathers, they didn't know how to slow down. They're trying to teach it to their sons, and they just keep going trying to survive. So, like I said, the balance, we're teaching the balance right now. That's what we're doing. That's what I'm doing.
Lala, I like to piggyback off something that Joe said because I can agree based on what my son told me. It's like, I'm watching you. I see what you do. And although I respect and I appreciate the way you did it, I want to do something different with my life and for myself. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't have a desire to have, my financial stability. In fact, it's like I gave this kid $2,000. I mean, he was like, just watch me. And in a few months, he took that 2,000 and ran it up to 70,000 in stock options. Just kind of watch it from the bedroom, not the basement, but from the bedroom. So it's not like he's not ambitious and he's not trying to do something. He just doesn't want to do it my way. And what's wrong with that? It's okay. He's still getting where he's trying to go. So that's why I say every situation is a little bit different. Even the person that's in there, gaming or whatever, maybe he wants to be an air traffic controller. He practicing his skill set. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not judging. I'm just saying, Joe. I'm just saying.
But no, Dr. Sabrina, you're right. This generation is redefining ambition.
Yeah.
It's not just about climbing corporate ladders anymore. It's about creating lives that you don't feel like you have to constantly try to escape from. You know what I mean? Ambition looks like how you're describing it. It's something sustainable, and it's good for your mental. It's good, and it's financially good for you, and it's good spiritually for you. So now when men move back home, what I'm saying, hopefully they're using that to regroup, and that can be ambition too. I'm trying to save my money so I can do the thing that I actually love versus just, climbing this ladder that I hate climbing.
We have a good comment from one of our own queens. Aisha says, Americans have been sold a lie about leaving home. We should practice group economics, live together at home to support each other so that we can build as a family, save and move out when ready. I think there is a time and place for that as well. I just told you that I have plenty of clients that are doing that. I see you, D. I see you. What you got to say?
I was just gonna say this comment is interesting because that what Dr. Sabrina just said is something different. Like, I mean, I would think that Dr. Sabrina's children would take $2,000 and turn it into $70,000. That's amazing. But based on this video that I'm about to show you in a couple seconds, it feels more like this. More like, I don't want to do that. I want to just go home and be at my mama's house and yeah, we'll see what happens, right? Like that's what it feels like. Me looking at those hashtags, that's what it felt like. Like, I don't know. And I don't know if it's like somebody got to get up and work. Somebody has to get up and do it. And so I don't know how comfortable I would be. I would appreciate the time to like take a moment, right? But also feel like you got to do something. Like you got to do something, something has to happen. So I don't know. Y'all, I want to show y'all this video because I'm anxious to show you a day in the life of a HubSon or a stay-at-home son.
Hey guys, so this is the typical day in the life of a stay-at-home son. I usually wake up around noon and I do my skincare routine, brush my teeth. It's not a very extensive routine, but I want to step it up, but it works for me for now, so we'll stick it out. I've been drinking kombucha. I'm obsessed with kombucha. I'm obsessed with this flavor. It just makes me feel so good. I definitely recommend it. Like, everybody go get this right now. At this point, I'm opening up some packages from Levi's because I'm a Levi's ambassador, and from Amazon. And then I go for a walk. It is so pretty today. I just had to capture the moment. And I take my dog with me, and we both just love it every day. And then I go to the gym. It was a pretty mid workout. Like, all I hit was like legs and core. I just wasn't feeling it today. But yeah, that's what I hit. And then I just went home, showered, and then I helped my little sister with her homework. She comes home like around like 4 or 5. And, I don't know what they're doing these days. But then we go to the park and just like enjoy some like bonding time. At this point, I'm starving and I eat my Chipotle bowl halfway through before I realize I'm supposed to record it. And we were watching the movie Annabelle, I think. This is Annabelle Creation or something. Anyways, that's the day of my life. And then I do my skincare routine, and it's, again, not that extensive. I want to step it up, but like it also works for me. I don't know. See you guys.
Marlo.
Call my name first.
Marlo.
You didn't even let me get a grip on my tongue.
No, I need to know your reactions right now.
The video, Tiara hiding her face, Joy's in the wall. I don't know. This is
the videos I was seeing, Marlo.
I want to meet his mama. That's what I'll say. I need to meet his mama because I need more details. Because I feel like, this brother is selling other young brothers a bill of goods. I think he wants to be a HubSons ambassador for young influencers, and I don't like it. I believe because he is pulling out packages, he say he's a Levi's ambassador. So I guess he's making a couple of little, flips. His clothes getting paid for or something. For him to give me his skincare routine, his Chipotle bowl, like I'm opting out of this. Son, if you're watching, if this comes across your timeline, this ain't for us. So you ain't got to worry about being my husband. If this what we own, you ain't got to worry about coming home because I don't like it.
But exactly. So the things that we have been talking about mostly have been what if situations, but that's not what we're seeing with this hashtag. What we are seeing with this hashtag is exactly what we
Joe's
just
face.
saw. Joe, I need you to tap in on this. What are your thoughts on that video?
I can't hardly. Yeah, I can't do my job with this type of stuff going on. I can't do my job.
I love it. But listen, like there's a lot of people asking these questions that we have like how much does he get paid to be an influencer? Is he helping his mother
It
with
don't matter.
anything?
Allah.
Where
None
is he getting
of
the money from this Chipotle bowl?
none of that
What's
matters.
going on?
He set us up, man. He set us up, man. I'm out here try to cape for this generation and show grace and do all the things that a therapist does, and he just threw my whole thing out the window with that video, man. He set us up, man. I'm opting out. Sign me up too, Marlo. I'm opting out. Son, if that come across your timeline, either one of my sons, if that come across your timeline, this is not your life. It is not your ministry. Do not follow.
All right, well
Because
then let me twist this. I'm sorry, Tiara, do you have something to say?
I was just about to say, like, I think that this is, if I can just say, looking at the hashtags, it was more of this than anything else. It was you talking about a man of leisure. These little boys, like, they're just leisurely, like, no real ambition. It doesn't say, it's like, yeah, I got these packages from Levi. He didn't say, I'm about to make some videos to promote and do and put here's the business I'm trying to start at home. It's like, yeah,
Shaming
then
and skincare.
me and the dog went walking. It was really beautiful outside. Oh my God. Yeah, we just love it. And I came home and went back to the park with my kid. Like, you just want to be outside all day. You just wanna you just wanna relax. You wanna out he didn't wake up until noon, Lala.
You
I get
ain't
up
gonna tell me that
typically
went over
I
your
wake
mind.
up around noon and then I do my skincare routine and it's great. I just wonder if we're creating soft boys. Soft boys. Like he's incredibly soft. Cause yeah, no, that's not
He
can you
looks
imagine
like
him being a
one
husband?
trauma would throw him into mental chaos. That's what the problem is. But Joe, since we all are on the same page about that, I have to ask you this as a man, okay, and a father. How might fathers and older men view this differently? Are we failing our young men?
I think that fathers take it personal in a different way. I'm not saying that mothers don't take it personal, but it's it's nurture versus nature type stuff. As a father, you look at these situations and you feel like you have not done all the things that you can do to institute whatever your son may need in order to be a survivor in the world today. So you take it very personal, and because our language or our emotion of the way we exude emotion is not defined a lot of the times as men, the only thing that comes out is anger. You know what I mean? So you find yourself arguing and yelling with the boy versus trying to understand the plan and move into a nurturing space. So I can understand how a father who has not emotionally evolved or is not emotionally intelligent would look at the situation and just make him mad.
So, we have so many different dynamics that we have actually talked about today. We've talked about, how do we build more video? I mean, I build more generational wealth. And we have, those who definitely are at home living their best soft life. There's many situations, but when we're talking about this topic, we are talking exactly what that less video was representing. So listen, I'm going to play us one more video and we're going to get into final thoughts after that. Let's check this out. Keep the comments coming, family. We've got so many comments and I see you with this comment. This show deep. This show deep. We got questions. So let's look at this next video and then we'll get everyone's final thoughts.
Man, I believe she's like 32. And that's what I'm talking about. There are a lot of women in this category right here And especially the more education they get, the more educated they get, the higher they go up, you know, in corporate America, less likely they are to get married, less likely they are to have children. The thing is that there used to be a time when average people got with average people. There used to be a time. And nowadays you have average women, hell, you got below average women that don't want an average man. So that plays a major role in you know, the lack of births and the lack of marriages. The other thing too is that men are starting to wake up when it comes to this marriage thing, and I am a proponent for it. I am a proponent for, you know, marriage and things of that nature. I think it's important. And what we're dealing with right now, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that because men aren't getting married and you know, we're not having kids at earlier rates, you know, like we did back in the day. Heck, I mean, I was 25 and I was married. 26, I was married. I had 2 kids. You'd be hard pressed to see something along those lines in this day and age, but during that time frame, it was fairly normal. Men need something to work for. We do. That's a lot of the reason why we played sports and things of that nature back in the day, because if it wasn't for sports, you probably wouldn't keep your grades up because you were doing what needed to be done. You know what I'm saying? So you could stay eligible, so you could play your sport. We are the stick and carrot people, or individuals, or humans. You know, we need that. We need a stick. We need a carrot. We got to have something that we're striving for, or we're not going to work. We're not going to go as hard. We're not going to do all the things that we need to do if we don't have those things. That's why it's so important, you know, for, you know, men to put themselves in a position where they can get married and they can have children. Because if we don't have those things, something to actually grind for and work for, we will revert to, hey, I'll just do the bare minimum because I don't have anything to work for. I don't need much. See, what women don't understand is, you know, about men, a lot of the things that we do to attract y'all. You know, we get the fancy car.
Yeah, well, there is all sorts of dynamics to this. And I would absolutely love to hear everyone's final thoughts. I'm going to start with you, Dr. Sabrina. What are your final thoughts on this? And please tell us where we can find you.
Okay. So I think we are at a point in society where we see some different things happening. And I'm not just going to make this about our sons. Our children are finding themselves in a different world. And in some instances, they are opting to come back home for various reasons, whether it is to work on their mental health, whether it is to position themselves financially. And then there are some that, you know, just want to hang out in the basement. That being the case, I think each family has to really decide, you know, what are we doing here? Why are we doing this? And as my co-panelist said earlier, that, you know, you have to think about what works for you and your household. For some of these people, as I said, it may be to their best interest to keep their children at home with them. But I do encourage our young men, as that last video said, to find a reason. And your reason does not necessarily have to just be family. You know, there are a lot of things out here, a lot of good work that needs to be done, whether it's addressing homelessness, whether it's addressing a lot of this violence that we see in our community. Just find your purpose, whatever that purpose is. Even if you got to find it in the basement, find that purpose. That's all I'm saying. That's all Dr. Williams is saying to you. With that being said, October is National Estate Planning Month, and we are encouraging you, no matter where you live, you need an estate plan. Okay, listen to me real good. No matter whether that's at your mama's house, your grandmama's house, or big mama and them house, you need an estate plan. October is Estate Planning Awareness Month, and Dr. Williams is here to help you. You can find me across platforms at I Am So Noted. That's IAMSEWNOTED. Y'all know I didn't do it right. I am Dr. Sabrina Edmond Williams, educator, author, and investor, opening minds and closing contracts. It's been a delight to be here with you today because this has been good.
It has been good. And we loved all of your comments and all of your insights, Dr. Sabrina. We absolutely love spending time with you. Marlo, what is your final thoughts and where can we find you?
Do what works for you. If If your children, male or female, needs to come home, but lay boundaries, right? Don't let it be exhaustive. Don't have everybody walking around eggshells, everybody hiding this part. Just don't do that. Lay the groundwork early. What is the plan? What are we doing? This is what I require. You should have a requirement. And then go from there. Don't worry about what people say. And if you worry about what people say, keep people out your business. That's an old school African wisdom. If you worried about what people gonna say about you, keep them folks out your business. But if you need your business to be seen, then you should contact me at the Marlowe Group, because that is what we specialize in. We specialize in finding out what it is that you need to grow your business, whether you need to be more visual online or whether you just want to be found in a search with your competitors. That is what we do. That is what we specialize in. We help you be seen in a sea of 24 million posts about HubSons. It's a lot of stuff out there in the internet, y'all. You got to be found. 24 million posts attached to that. Maybe you want to promote
24
your
million.
HubSons skills. I don't know. Hit me up. We'll figure out what it is you need and how I can help.
That is a lot of hashtags. And if anybody knows about hashtags and getting you seen, that's Marlo. You got your assignment. Go to the Marlo Group if you want to be seen in green, because it's all about being seen out here. And she knows how to get you at the top. All right, Joe, I need to get your final thoughts and where we can find you, please.
So I don't think that, young people don't want to work no more. They're tired of working. I think they're more tired of burnout. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I'm seeing. So, we're really seeing with this HubSon conversation is it's not just about men moving back home. It's about men trying to be authentic and understanding the word of the day, which is balance. So for too long, we've really tied manhood to performance and how much you make and how far you move and how hard you hustle. But the real growth doesn't always happen in motion. Sometimes you got to sit still for a second, be silent, get in a space where you can finally stop surviving and switch your mind to thriving mode. Something y'all hear me say every time I'm on, and listen to yourself. If a man is home right now, that doesn't mean that he's failing. It might mean that he's rebuilding. And the question isn't where you live, it's what you're doing with that time in that space. Are you resting or are you retreating? Because if you're retreating, that's another thing. Are you hiding or are you healing? Because if you're healing, that's another thing. So the independence isn't just about, where you live. It's about your alignment. It's about your mindset. So in 2025, being a man isn't just about leaving home. It's becoming whole and being authentically who you are. And that journey could start at realuconsulting.com. Give me a holler. Try to understand about authentically who you are so you can move in your purpose and feel like you are succeeding, regardless of where you live at.
Joe, I'm going to need to make you a shirt. I absolutely love that. Are you hiding or are you healing? There is a difference. Now, listen, Joe can help you when it comes to that. Please make sure that you reach out to him because he does come to you with a heart as well. So you want to make sure that you go to his website, realuconsulting.com. Tiara, what is your final thoughts and where can we find you?
Y'all, I love how I can start at the beginning of this conversation. I was like, you know what? The boys moving home and staying home and living in the basement are B words, right? Like they B words. It's over. They soft. It's over. I would never. But after having this engaging conversation with you all, I have a little bit more grace and I can understand. I'll say this. I think if you are living in your mama's basement, just really start to think about a lot of things that people have already mentioned. What is your purpose? Since you're taking this time to reflect on what your purpose might be. Pray, meditate, get it together. As we prepare, and this kind of goes into, or like Marlo was saying, if you need help, I think that if you are looking for your purpose, it's very important to to look for places like this, like Fly Nubian Money, and start to listen and go to flynubianmoney.com, go to flynubianmoney.com, all of the .coms, right? To just get some insight. I mean, I think our world is moving so fast, y'all. In all reality, it's moving so fast. AI is coming. It's like there's so many things that you can do and start to do and start to think about. For those confused about getting money and can't find a job, get a trade. I mean, we talk about everything around here. I'm sure if you just spend some time and watch programs like this, you'll be inspired to do something. You won't just open up your Levi's box and then close it back and then go walk in. Like, we got you. We got you. As a matter of fact, my name is Sierra Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood and Karma J, depending on the day. And I actually am launching brand boxes for entrepreneurs as we approach 2026. I want to make sure that we are helping those people. If you want to start a business, I want to help you do that. I want to help you do that. Get all of your things together: your story, your mission, your brand, all of the things that we can get to, so you can have a 2026 launch and you can start working towards something that's impactful and will help. Whether it's in AI, whatever it's in, we got you. So go to realvirtual.net. info@realvirtual.net.
You got your assignment. She does all the things and she takes good care of us here on the Fly Nubian Money Show. We love her very much and she does absolutely everything wonderfully. So if you need her to help you start your business, she's giving you the assignment. Go do it, because 2026 round the corner.
There's
Right
80
here.
days
Blink,
left, y'all. There's 80 days left.
blink.
1,920 hours left.
Wow. That scared me. All right. Now, look, here's my final thought. Listen, every circumstance is always going to be different. But one of the things that you need to understand is you should never, ever coddle your children so much that when you're not here, they don't know what to do. Don't allow your children to be lost if you are not here. You can enable them so much so that they can't learn to live the basic life. I know this. I've seen it in my family. And to combat that takes years of therapy, and sometimes they just don't bounce back. So remember, you have to launch them into the future. For when you're not here, what will they do? I am Laura Lala Key. You can find me at laurakey.net, where I have a lot of wonderful things. But listen, I'm also really, 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 really a holiday freak. And I have this really fun guide that I have created on my website to help you get through all the holidays: Halloween, Thanksgiving, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, New Year's. And it's going to help you to also balance and give you tips there. So go there. And if you do buy that guide and you have a business, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to put you in my business guide. So that'll get emailed out every week to my big guide of over 3,000, 4,000 people in my database to help you get business. So check that out at laurakey.net. Listen, this was such a good conversation. This isn't about men just moving home. It's about the economy, the cost of living, and how we define success. Now, for some, this is a survival strategy. For others, it's a wake-up call about independence and identity in 2025. But either way, the HubSons era reminds us that stability looks different for everyone. I want to thank our amazing panel for bringing your insight and your honesty to today. We always share what we know out here, but we also want to thank those who are our family that comment all the time: Black Lexicon, Michael, Anonymous, we see you. We've had poetry. We had poetry come in. We had Walterine. And we had so many other people, Chris. And listen, Dennis, we appreciate you, because without you, we wouldn't have a show. And so we really do appreciate you being here. So until tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you be blessed. But make sure that if you don't want to miss the show, that you text the word Queens to 87948 so that you will get notified. And if you missed an episode, go on over to Spotify, because we have all of our episodes there too. Listen, be blessed. We will see you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace out.
Can't nobody make me feel bad for living at home with my mama. As of right now, I'm 28 and I can't afford to move out. And while, yes, I do have a job, it don't pay me enough to move out. Because while we're at home with our mothers and our fathers, we have the opportunity to save money. Put money here, put money there, invest our money to make more money. So while, yes, you have your own space, you're still struggling, babe. You have to figure out how to stretch that $5 until next week. I could spend my $5. So if the option was to stay at home with my parents and save my money or get an apartment and struggle, I'm taking staying at home with my parent and saving my money.